Good morning, it's Jeffrey Cohen. How are you? It's Wednesday, June 8th. We're here for some pre-market action. We're going to look across fixed income, commodities, stocks to see if we can get a read on where the market's going today. We have some hypotheses on some things we're going to talk about. And then we're also going to take a look at our runners list, right? We have a bunch of stocks that are very volatile without a lot of movement. We're going to look at those. And we're even going to take a little peek at the 3 or 4 stocks that we have a position in and talk about those. So let's get started. You know, I woke up this morning and the news is rather sad across the board. So here's a picture of Ivan Sosnin, 19 years old, over in Donetsk, who his house got blown up. So if you think you have it bad, imagine this guy dressed like any American preteen or teenager in a hoodie and a pair of camo, either sweatpants or sleeping pants. And he's sad. He comes home. His house is gone, right? I went to bed last night. I think I got COVID again. I'm so sad right now. It's awful, right? I mean, I don't want COVID a second time. I didn't do anything either. My daughter went to a party, and, we picked her up in the car, and she probably gave it to us because it was a bat mitzvah, right? So everything's bad. So I'm going to share some news that's just crap all morning, and then I'm going to get to the numbers. So Russia's going to Turkey to discuss how to ship Ukrainian grain. It would be nice if Ukraine went to figure it out. And so they're saying there might be 22 million tons of grain sitting in silos in Ukraine. Now here's the challenge. Okay, so Russia invades Ukraine. They destroy the infrastructure. There's a bunch of grain sitting there. Now Russia's taking what it can, and this is what's left over. Right, whether it's wheat, corn, oils, other materials. I mean, Ukraine is a very rich. It's the granary of Europe, and so I just worry, right? You've just taken out a major grain provider, and now you have Russia and Turkey trying to work things out. Okay, what other news? This was funny. 10-year-old girl was arrested. Okay, so her mom gets into a fight in Orlando, outside their home. It was a multi-family housing situation, right? And they had a fight. There were a couple punches thrown by like 40-year-old ladies, right? And the child's watching this. And by the way, the boyfriend of the victim is there, and so when the lady who got shot, the victim, re-engaged with the mom, probably threw another punch. They're probably girl punches, right? So it's probably not going to kill anybody. And the child fired 1 to 2 shots at Rogers and said she shouldn't hit my mama. Now, from the child's perspective, she's 10. She's protecting her mama, loves her mama. Mama's probably the one person in the world that truly loves her. But now we're teaching people that it's okay to protect your mama by taking out a handgun and shooting her once or twice. That's awful. I just want to tell you, fatally shot the woman. The 10-year-old kid's not going to be the same. And it's awful. Here's another one. This woman, it's like a Tom Clancy novel, okay? This woman was last seen 4 days after her warrant for the arrest for killing a bicyclist. And there she is at a Newark airport. Probably flew away. Suspect arrested after video shows a woman being thrown down so hard that she fell on the tracks. Here's the suspect, 30-year-old man, and he was caught. And so look at a blue hat. Red backpack, white t-shirt, red, white, and blue. But what's going on? 52-year-old victim. He's 30 years old. These are not children, by the way. This is just not nice news. And then the war in Ukraine. Oh, stunning moment when CNN is brought to the front line. And you can watch as the Ukrainian military kills Russian military. And now the Russians are taking the Ukrainian prisoners of war, which they're not calling prisoners of war. That's important. And they're taking them back to Russia. They're actually calling them people. Surrendered militants, right? So this is a problem because this is implying that they're not going to get protections of the Geneva Convention. So what's going on with Ukraine? Not a whole lot, actually. This is just not a nice situation, right? Lot of bad stuff. Ukraine. So I'm trying to look for the good news. Where's the good news? Well, one piece of news, the MBA Mortgage Bankers Association. I don't have a subscription. I don't have the, whatever, $10,000 a month it costs, or $1,000 a month. But there's a weekly applications for mortgages. And it looks like from Trading Economics, that must have a subscription, that minus 2.3%. No, here it is. Minus 6.5%. Right there. So what this says, just it's important, mortgage applications are down 6.5%. Lowest level in 22 years. So refinances are down 5.6%. New purchases of a single home went down 7.1%. And you've got the 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 5.4%. So this is not good for economic activity. Come on, you know that. You know that it's not good. I know it's not good. So it's fine. It just is what it is, right? So fewer mortgages. What else is going on? You know, I love to look at FINRA to find out what's going on with the market. So they're saying that the 30-year yields ended at 3.09, and this is what the yield curve looks like. I don't believe the data. I think it's old data, which is really strange because it shouldn't be old data. So I pulled up the futures, the actual thing that trades, and you can see the 30-year Treasury bond is yielding 3.17% this morning. The 10-year Treasury note is yielding 3.025, and the 1-month Treasury bill is yielding 0.855. So yields are higher, not tremendously so, but yields are higher. If we look for the month, since the whole we're going to taper, you can see in June they're rising, but they had risen before. So it's about it is what it is, right? We go to the month. I mean, we can look for a year, right? Look at the month. It came down like a bathtub, come back up again. So long rates are going up. Okay. That's generally speaking not good for the stock market. And the short rates, the reason why I keep talking about those is that's more like LIBOR. That's more like adjustable rate financing, adjustable rate mortgages, adjustable rate credit cards. So that number's not that high, but it's pretty high. It's actually still pretty high. So what else am I going to share with you? So CNN is just, this is what bullets do to the human body. So it's everything. A crime burst to the forefront in San Francisco. The other thing I saw, the news in FinViz was actually quite negative this morning. And so the media is talking down the market right now. I think this is important because I actually don't think the market's going to go down today. Customers getting squeezed. Credit Suisse is going to do layoffs. Of course they are. Hunter Biden's hooker got a PPP loan for a single female-owned sole proprietor. Come on, who cares, right? Futures edge lower. There was other stuff. Serious problem with COVID vaccine, quitting their jobs, zero growth, fears mount, just all kinds of negativity. The market, the media is feeding us a lot of negativity today. So probably stocks are going to go up. I mean, that's not a real model, but let's just take a look. So let's look at crypto. Crypto's at 30,200. That's actually pretty low, but it's right in that support range. If you look at the chart I'm showing you, it shows you from middle of May to now, for about a month, crypto's been trading right around $30,000. The euro dollar at 107.29 is kind of in range. You're going to see that dollar yen is different. Dollar yen is 134.37. That's actually quite high. So the yen is weakening dramatically against the dollar. Euro dollar looks fine. Dollar yen is crazy. And so I think the Japanese are either keeping their interest rates lower or they're just going to dump on their currency to help exports to the United States. It's probably an issue with like car exports and stuff. And look at crude oil. So by the way, it makes it more expensive for the Japanese to import crude oil when they destroy their currency. Crude oil is almost 121 a barrel. That's really high. Right? And so where are we at with the futures here? So the VIX is at 25. There's really no fear in the market. We're just looking at day-to-day moves. Gasoline is settling in at like 417. You see the 30-year bond at 136.94. Anything under 137 shows a rise. And the 10-year below 118, that's a pretty important level. Once breaks below 117, then we might see some movement. For the 30-year bond, the number to watch is 135.0. And so we're getting there. So see the Japanese yen, it was 0.7777 when we first started looking just last like week ago. And now it's at 74.44. So it's coming way down. The Japanese yen is coming way down. Silver, flat. Gold, flat. Copper's been flat. Everything's kind of flat, right? So nothing's happening. It's the summer. Nothing happens in the summer, right? If we take a look at how the market traded yesterday, there was one really good piece of news. So you see the market came up, took a little break into the lunch hour, and it kept going up. 4160 is a pretty nice close for the S&P 500. And the most important number for you guys to look at is new highs, new lows. So we finally broke free. New highs exceeded new lows. That's a very positive sign in our market. You should look at that. Advancers to decliners. 67% advance, 27 decline. 40% of stocks are above where they traded for the last 50 days. And 24% are above where they traded the last 200 days. And bullish tendencies. This was a very positive market yesterday. So it's interesting because the news says, "Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Just throw yourself, into cash." But really, I think the market's set for some nice increase. So if we look at bonds, how did bonds trade yesterday? Right? Advancers headed decliners for all issues. Investment grade looks like it's almost 2-to-1. High yield was down. High yield was about 5-to-1 on the new lows to new highs. Convertibles about flat. But investment grade's really where the story is. You see a lot of new lows, like 30 new lows for every new high. But investment grade was up. And so I guess what we're seeing is there's companies that are just imploding, for lack of a better word. They look like this guy. There's companies that if they're already in a depths of hell, they're going deeper, right? But for the most part, everyone else is fine. Oh yeah, everything's great. If we look at agency issues, this is your mortgage backs, your mortgage securities. Advanced decline is flat. New lows are exceeding new highs by about, looks like almost 6-to-1. So there's some trouble in the mortgage market. And here's where I suggest that you take a look. So when you see that new mortgage applications are down, it means people are going to hold on to their mortgage. It means they can't refinance. It means now they just got to sit and pay it. So the maturity, the duration of mortgage-backed securities will go up because they're not just going to get refied. So now mortgage-backed securities start to have more rate risk. I think this is really interesting. And as rates go up, right, so what will happen is as the market rates go up, the price of the bonds is going to go down. So that's what I'm looking at. So I promised I would show you some cool stuff, right? So let's do it. A quick look shows the 30-year Treasury's up. Treasury's up. All right. So what do I want to look at? Possible short squeezes. You know, I love looking at that stuff. That's crazy talk. I read somewhere a headline that said more college kids came home and are trading in the stock market than are working in retail. All right, so Mullen. Mullen is an unbelievably risky place to park any money. Pre-market is down 3%, but my guess is that's going to move, right? View, another risky one. Going concern risk. It looks like it's a slight move. On the upside, you have Pineapple Energy, Mega Matrix, but I looked, Mega Matrix yesterday in pre-market only moved like 300 shares, so it wasn't a lot of movement. So right now, I'm not sure what I see. These things are not really blinky too much, but Mullen Automotive is always good for a little action, right? Mullen's probably going to zero, so I'm not sure I would park any money in there, but I could see people going a little crazy. Redbox Entertainment sold itself to Chicken Soup for the Soul, I think, Entertainment, or some company like that. It's interesting it came up to 8.5 again. That stock was down, I think, like $5. Not a lot of movement here. Other than that, on the downside, nope. Not a lot of blinky. So, I don't know. Not a lot of movement this morning. Maybe everyone's sleeping in. Maybe they had a late night. So, Mullen Automotive. I'm just going to flash this up for you. I'm going to talk about a crazy stock. This was a $11 stock. It's an electric vehicle manufacturer. Popped up. Looks like it really tried. And then, boom. Down to 60 cents. And, it's trading like $1.30. Doesn't even have the excuse it was a SPAC. It just kind of moved and then it dropped in a toilet. And so, I'm not sure what's going on with this EV. Lightwave Logic, our model consistently picks Lightwave Logic for being the worst stock to hold. If we look at the S&P 500, this is something I wanted to point out to you. So I'm not a big chart guy. So I don't draw fancy charts, but what I can say is take a look at the S&P 500. I'm just going to do a regression line. And see, where's my trend here? Started at the end and go back. And you can see we've either been flat since May 2nd. Yeah, we've been flat since May 2nd. Sure, it was up. It came down. It was up. Kind of looks a little bit like a head and shoulders. But I don't see any volume confirmation. This is just moving for no reason. Not moving that much, right? It's like an up and down. It's like Walmart stock, right? It goes up, it comes down. But generally, it's coming back to this line, this 4,050 line, 4050 line. It's not a bad chart. It just says we're moving sideways. So now let's take a look at some of the stocks that we've got. So we're heavy in Corbus Pharmaceuticals. There is absolutely no news and no progress. They talk a good game. Nothing ever seems to happen, right? When we look at Corbus for a year, it's like a slide at my kid's park. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It comes up, it goes down. So Corbus is like dead money to us. Now, What's interesting is Pineapple Energy. I bought it because 2.5 million shares traded on a 7.5 million share stock, authorized, outstanding, 5.6 million shares float. And this thing traded. So what happened was, it's the same kind of thing. It was a $25 stock, right? They bought, they sold, they changed everything around. Now they're in solar power in Hawaii. And I posted to the President of the United States, President Biden, the price of electric energy in Hawaii is up 21% from March of last year to March of this year. We need low price energy. And so if I want to call her Peggy Sue, if Peggy Sue can help pump up the solar industry in Hawaii, that's great. Maybe we can actually start making solar power panels in the United States. That'd be even better, right? So the stock's not trading anywhere. It's like a $3 stock, but up 8 cents pre-market. It's just so interesting because it's a downtrodden stock, right? But it's probably not a bad story because look at it pop. It hit $2 and it came up to $3, and who knows? Maybe it wants to go to $4. Now let's look at Avaya. Avaya is the first stock we ever shorted. So you could say, "Wow, Jeff, pretty risky." By the way, I didn't short it at 20 like I probably should have. I didn't short it at 10. I shorted it at 5. So a little dangerous because now it popped up to 530. But I'm nervous about the stock. I think the stock's in big trouble. And so, but it's pretty risky to short it at 5 when I probably should have shorted it at 10. So looks like it's making a little bit of a comeback. It's hard to know. The thing that I look at when I look at Avaya, and we kind of got suckered in because the bonds traded really low. So Avaya has $2.8 billion that it owes. $2.8 billion is a lot of money. Like, it makes you rub your temples, right? $2.8 billion. And by the way, on a tangible basis, it has a negative net worth, negative tangible net worth. So if you had to shut down Avaya, there's no money for the common shareholder. I believe they even have preferred stock out there now to try to raise money. They're digging deep in all ends of the barrel. So what's interesting is CCC S&P rating B minus. So that's on the 2023s. On the 2028s, it's a B minus rating, yielding 11.5%. If you want to give them your money to 2028. Yielding 15.4% if you want to give them your money for a year. And the reason is that they had the money. They had the money to pay off the 2023s. It was $350 million. They could have done it, especially at the discount you're talking about. They could have came up with $300 million. That would have actually been really clever. But they didn't do it. They probably would have made like $30, $50, $60 million in profit because they would have bought it at the market, right, at 80 cents. Terrific. But they didn't. And so I always look at this and I think, when you have a stock, look at 5 days. This is their 2023 maturity, 2.25 paper. And remember, they owe $2.9 billion. This is $350 million. This is nothing. But look at that 5 day. It actually hit 88.30 and then it hit 88. It's a nicely recovering debt issue, but I don't know. I'm not feeling like Avaya's out of the woods. Look, it just got downgraded. Standard & Poor's. May 20th. The other thing is, I read that there were some layoffs, Avaya layoffs, March 1st in the sales force. That's not helpful. So that's Avaya, right? And we'll see what happens. I might be wrong. I might lose a ton of money, but I might be right too. There it is, pre-market, Pineapple Energy at 331. That's not terrible. And then Zion Bancorp. We're starting to follow some of the banks. Very interesting stuff. So, what else? There's not much really going on. So futures are set to open lower. S&P looks like it's going to come down and touch 41.39 at the open. I don't know that I believe it. I actually don't think I believe it. I think the S&P is going to do just fine today. Europe's down. VIX is up a little bit. Look at the bond. Came above 137. Yeah, we're fine. Market's fine today. So go out there. Be safe. Make some money. Watch out for the 30-year bond yields, right? Watch out. If they keep climbing, that's a problem. But for right now, it looks like it's just speculation. Look at the S&P futures. You see the little chart coming down. Whenever I see negative, I always think there's something else going on here. So let's take a look. What do we have that we want to look at? Let's look at the chips and semiconductors. Okay, pretty much all red. So it's going to be a red open. That I understand, red open. Let's look at cannabis and tobacco. Holy cow. Scott's Miracle-Gro down 13% pre-market. They must have warned. I'm telling you, the cannabis market stinks. Stinks. Right? It's the wholesale price of cannabis. The wholesale price of cannabis, look, it's red across the board. So spot price is down $59. It's down 5% for the week. If you grow it outdoors, it's down to $463 a pound. Now that's still a lot of money to grow cannabis. If you're a greenhouse, you're $882. If you're indoors, the fancy stuff, like fine cheeses from France, you're at $14.41. So the reality is that the cannabis, until cannabis prices stabilize, you're going to see problems in the hydroponics market. It takes a lot of electricity to do hydroponics. You have to provide the sun for your plants. It's expensive. So I get it. Cannabis, right? Price of cannabis goes down. It's not good for the stocks. And by the way, there's no letting up. I don't think there's any letting up. Look at crypto. Crypto and physical miners. Red. By the way, we do like Cleveland Cliffs, but not sure at this price. We do not own any of those stocks. Specialty retail. God, look at that. It's so red. There's some green. Alibaba, of course. Kohls is making a recovery. There's one guy really mean to me on Twitter. Talked about Kohls. He's like, oh, I don't give away free advice. I said, so why are you on Twitter? You're tweeting stuff. Isn't that supposed to be helpful? He's like, no, not helpful. So, Joann's was down. Joann's is up. There's not much going on. This is a dead market today. It's very interesting. Slow and low. That's what I call today. Raymond James, oh my God, Raymond James down 14% pre-market. What's going on? Even our good friends are not even that up. So not really much going on. It's a slow day in the market. Oh, high beta stocks. The Love Sack. I'm going to do a B-52 song. It's down 14% pre-market. Affirm Holdings is down 4% pre-market. Census Energy, EO Energy, all right. I say if you haven't started trading, go back to bed today. This is a slow market. I mean, we have our own hypotheses we might trade that we are not talking about on this call. But just to go back, Corbis, please, if you could do anything, if you could buy 100 shares of Corbis to make the price go up, I would really appreciate it. I have a lot of shares in Corbis, and it is like dead money. If I could go back in a time machine, look at that. I would have shorted that thing all the way down to zero. Man, was awful. All right, Pineapple Energy. Oh, it's coming down in pre-market. That's not great. Avaya, the one we're short, looking pretty healthy. So I would say today we are looking, and now just let's close it out, right? Close it out. We own the stock AMS because of fundamental valuation, thinly traded. Oh, it traded 3 shares after hours. I like AMS. For 3 years, you see the stock pretty much has gone absolutely nowhere. And it probably will continue to go absolutely nowhere. But we like it. It's a safe place to park your money. They make a profit. They make cash. They continue to grow shareholder value. American Shared Hospital Services is a small company that's doing all the right things. They take medical equipment, radiological medical equipment, and they take an ownership stake. They can share the ownership. It's fine. And they get paid based on the use of the equipment. It's good. It's like a leasing company. But they take an interest, right? Go back to futures. We're still red. Go back to our possible runners. Oh, come on now. Possible short squeeze. Everyone loves a short squeeze. Nothing. Even Mullins at $1.34. Nothing's going on here today. So, go back to bed. Love you guys. I'm really glad anyone who's out there listening. Appreciate that you're doing so. And hit the subscribe button. We don't get paid to make the videos. And maybe leave a comment. Tell me about a stock you want to look at. And good luck out there. Hope you make money today. Take care.